Keep your words and in the way you call my name. When you're by my side, I can't do anything. You're my best friend, you're my lover. Without you, no one else would do. Through thick and thin, I know we'll make it through. Yes, I wanna build my whole world around you. So I promise you forever and forever. Yeah, you are my sunshine, baby. Don't you worry. I want me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. I want me, all over me, already alive. I will love you forever. My baby, you are my sunshine, my love and my essence. There's no one like you. My baby, and you are my sunshine, my love and my essence. There's no one like you. You are me, all about me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. You are me, all about me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. My sugar, my honey, my lover, I will love you forever. My baby, my lover, and my best friend, I will love you forever. I place no woman above you. I will love you forever. I promise to always love you, baby. I will love you forever. And there's no one other comes close. I will love you forevermore. And ever and ever and evermore. I will love you forever. 'Cause you are my baby, my sunshine. I will love you forever. And when there's nothing more to say, I will love you forever. Forever and ever. Somebody built my whole world around you. So I promise you forever and forever. Yeah, you are my sunshine, baby. Yeah, I want me. All over me. Already alive. See, I will love you forever. Yeah, I want me. All over me. Already alive. I will love you forever. My baby, you are my sunshine, the love of my essence. There's no one like you. My baby, you are my sunshine, my love of my essence. There's no one like you. You are me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. Sugar, my honey, my lover, I will love you forever. My baby, my lover, and my best friend, I will love you forever. I place no woman above you. I will love you forever. I promise to always love you, baby. I will love you forever. And there's no one other comes close. I will love you forevermore. Ever and ever and evermore. I will love you forever. 'Cause you are my baby, my sunshine. I will love you forever. And when there's nothing more to say, I will love you forever. All right, good evening, everyone. And we'll be starting the session tonight. We'll be having an interesting session tonight. We're in episode 9. And today we are looking at the pleasure. And this pleasure, we have part 1 and 2, the pleasure. And that means we'll be talking about sex and be discussing what people really don't want to talk about. Important issues actually in marriage that sometimes we shy away from, but which are very critical for the survival of most relationships in our world today. The youth of this generation are faced with the great challenge of choosing life partner. Many have followed practices and not principles. And these are led to a situation where you have a high rate of divorce and even paternity fraud in many marriages. So the goal of this program is to help everyone that will be part of it to get it right in these critical areas of their lives. You will hear some uncommon ideas about marriage in this series, but please note that these are based on scriptures, science, and statistics. So they are based on research, and it will help you align with the current reality of our times. Listen with an open mind and also go back to check some of those thoughts that have been shared. You don't need to accept everything said. You are free to question and also to check yourself if those things are really so. Because it's your life, by the way, and you have everything, every right rather to decide how you want to live it. Hence, the need to double check on whatsoever you have been told or you are hearing so that you'll be sure you are doing exactly the right thing for yourself. And this is very, very important. Now, today we'll be discussing something that many people do not find easy to talk about, particularly in religious circles.
And this is as a result of our culture also. It's also a cultural issue. In fact, parents discuss so many things with their children, but the topic we are discussing tonight. The reason why many people don't talk about it is because of the way they will be judged. And those that are judging them are hiding their own struggles. But they will rather hide it than talk about it. So many people have issues with addiction to pornography, for example, to masturbation, another sexual perversion, but they cannot talk about it because they will be judged. And because they can't talk about it, they are therefore unable to find solution to this problem in their lives. Imagine a situation where someone is sick. He needs a doctor to help him fix the challenge he's faced with. But he is afraid to go to a doctor. But afraid to go to a doctor. Why is he afraid to go to a doctor? Because he will be judged. So he won't go to a doctor, even though he has a problem, because he will be judged. And he doesn't want to be judged. He doesn't want to be judged. So we live in a highly sexualized world. Almost everything in our world today is sold using sex. Most adverts, people are trying to pass a message across. Somehow, they are able to get attention of people when sex is involved. Almost every advert. No matter what is being advertised, almost every advert, no matter what is being advertised, either is related or unrelated to sex, will be sold using sex. So almost every advert, no matter what is being advertised, have some element of sexuality, especially with the exposure of a body part or fully nude ladies. Or nude ladies. So, and there was a time a particular, all this Nollywood Instagram sensation, it was saying, they are saying we are doing everything, we are sex. He said, because sex sell now, because sex sell. So because sex sell, he will sell his product through the channel through which he sells. It's a sex sell. That if it's sexualized, it will be sold. It will be sold. It will be sold. Why? Because it's going to grab attention of people. Even though God created sex to be enjoyed by couple within the confine of marriage, but the devil has seriously perverted it, and his major target in executing this perversion is to destroy families, is to destroy homes, is to destroy young people even before they become adults. Have you ever wondered why homes are breaking up? Have you thought of the reason why homes are breaking up? Do you know that the devil has successfully ensured that homes are broken up? Because the more dysfunctional home you have, the easier the society becomes chaotic, and the devil will achieve his objective. Unfortunately, we don't pay attention to this. As a matter of fact, we don't like talking about it. Even though we'll be discussing it today in the confines of marriage, it's something that couple must discuss. I'll be looking at a lot of issues around this. The devil knows if you want to destroy the future of a nation, all he needs to do is to distract, distort, and destroy the people through sex, particularly among young people. It can distort their sexual orientation. Devil distract them with sex and consequently destroy their life. So let's define sex, first of all. You know, I like the definition of an author. It says, and you know what definition is important is this. You know, whatever you don't define, you can easily abuse. Whatever you don't define, you can easily abuse. That's why you should define your wife, who is a wife. You should define your husband, who is an husband. You should define your child, who is a child. Some parents beat children as if they are adults. Some parents beat children as if they are adults. It's a child. Do you know what it means to be a child? Paul said, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I behaved as a child. He said, when I became a man, I put away childish things. You must define who is a child. You must define your work. You must define your work. You must define money. And of course, you must define marriage. You must define marriage. Your definition of a thing is what determines what you use that thing to do. The way you use that thing. If you have a younger sister, if you have a house help, if you have a wife or husband or children, if you have a junior colleague at work, everything should be defined so that there will be no abuse. Your phone is for phone call. You use it to browse, you use it to chat. If you give it to a child, he will put it in his mouth. The difference is the definition to the child. That phone is a toy. Or that phone is a food, is biscuit. He will put it in his mouth because he's a child. Because he's a child, he will put it in his mouth simply because he is a child. So look at the definition that someone gives sex. It says sex can be defined as a covenant exchange of life, of love, and of pleasure. A covenant exchange of life, of love, and of pleasure. A covenant exchange of life, of love, and of pleasure. It is a covenant exchange. What is exchange in it? Love, life, and pleasure. Between a man and a woman, not a boy and a girl. Between a man and a woman, not a boy and a girl. It's a covenant of exchange of life, of love, and of pleasure, but it's between a man and a woman. Now, it's not just between a man and a woman, it's within the confine of marriage, within the environment of marriage, within the environment of marriage for the purpose of unity. Let's create unity.
I don't want that.
For the purpose of unity, it creates unity among couples. For the purpose of procreation, It helps, it's a means of procreation and for the purpose of marital love. Look at that definition very well. It's a covenant. It's a covenant. It's a covenant. A covenant is a contract, compact, treaty, pact, accord, deal, bargain. Undertaking, commitment is a covenant. And it's exchange between two people. Who are they? Man and woman. But the exchange is they are exchanging life, because there is life in the spermatozoa and in the ovum or the egg. They are exchanging love and they are exchanging pleasure. But it's between a man and a woman, not a boy and a girl. And it's within the confine of marriage. And it has a reason. For the purpose of unity, it fosters unity. It's a means to procreation and it helps in the expression of marital love. I took time on that definition because of other things I'll be talking about today as far as sex in marriage is concerned. Because one of the top 5 reasons, by the way, in 2 weeks' time, this pleasure will do it this week and next week. Then upper week, we're going to be discussing the problem and the problem of divorce. You'll be shocked at the rate of divorce in the world. You'll be shocked. And the reason for divorce also. We'll be discussing that in 2 weeks' time. In 2 weeks' time. The only safe environment for sex is in marriage because you are protected enough to engage in sex without any guilt or fear or blackmail. Without any guilt or fear or blackmail. Guilt of committing sin or of doing something wrong. Fear of the other party or the lady getting pregnant or the lady or the guy is not ready to father a child, and of being blackmailed if you're caught or someone recorded it and you can blackmail you. The safe environment for it is within the marriage. One of the top. So sorry, I have an issue with my network. So sorry. So sorry. Can you hear me, please? Kindly confirm if you can hear me. Kindly confirm if you can hear me. Can you hear me, please? Hello?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
All right. Thank you. One of the top 5 reasons for divorce is sex. Number 1 is communication. Number 2 is sex. Number 3 is money. Number 4 is third party. Number 5 is unrealistic expectation. Unrealistic expectation. So number 2 is sex. And one of the reasons is because, look, until we accept as human that God put us here on earth and give us a manual to live. As long as you see the Bible as a religious book, not a template to guide the way you live your life, you will go against what is written inside. When they say marriage is honorable in all and bed undefiled, people always tend to look at, why should we not do this? Why should we not do that? I think they find a way to justify. In fact, someone said, he took a statistics. He said, when he asked people that are unmarried if it is right to fornicate, they don't say anything wrong with it. But if he asks the married, the same person who is now married, if you ask, is it right to commit adultery? They will say, no, it's not right. You shouldn't cheat. But it's right for them when they are not married, but it's not right for them after. Because now they've secured one person. In the course of this conversation, either this week or next week, you will realize that when God said marriage is honorable in all and bed undefiled, that is a lot better for you to go into marriage as innocent as possible as far as sexual issue is concerned, both on the part and the man and woman. You will understand the reason why. I'm telling you, look, when someone complains, for example, and say, he's not satisfying me in bed, or she's not satisfying me in bed, compared to what? Compared to what? If you never had an experience, that problem will not happen. Because there's no basis for comparison. There's no basis for comparison. So you now realize that a lot of problems that people have as far as marriage and sex is concerned, they created it by themselves. And this night is not to judge anyone, is to educate ourselves and make necessary adjustments. So the only safe environment for sex is marriage, because you are protected enough to engage in sex without any guilt or fear of blackmail. Men have sexual instinct that respond to what they see or hear. So do not expose yourself to things, music, video, that predispose you, knowing fully well your major stimuli. If you keep exposing yourself to all this, you will soon practice what you see, either willingly or forcefully. The media has deceived many people through their advert that the most important organ in their body is their genitalia. Genitalia. And people are not thinking of how to grow their mind and their brain. Genitalia. So today you see people selling drugs, different herbs, because they want to do one or two things to their genitalia, either as a male or as a female. To their male or female organ, either as a male or as a female. And it's a big industry, I'm telling you, very big industry. You see them on social media, advertising. There's something I discovered about our world today. Growing up, there are some things that are so people are ashamed to talk about. You can't talk about it as in, how do I describe it? You be ashamed to talk about it. You will be scared. You will be timid. Today, people will come on social media, a place that millions can even see them. They will say it. They don't care. They don't care. So people are keen on their sexual organ. They think about it more than they think about their brain or about their mind. And do you know many people have injured themselves by taking some of these drugs and herb to enhance their body organ? A lot of people have regretted it because of the repercussion of some of these things. It's not right to see your sexual organ as the most important organ in your body. The most vital organ in your body is your brain. It controls everything. This is where your intellect resides. And this is what makes you to produce results on the earth. Sex is about the only thing that parents engage in but find it difficult to explain to their children. It is most difficult subject to discuss, even in the family, in the world, and it is also the least understood. The least understood. People don't like to talk about it most of the time because we feel it is out of place to discuss it. It is out of place to discuss it. It should be noted that a man has a seed called sperm, which must be planted in the right environment called marriage. A woman has a sealed parcel of land. I like the way this author described it. A sealed parcel of land that must be exclusively preserved for the king cultivation. in a marriage environment, a sealed parcel of land that must be exclusively preserved for the king cultivation in the marriage environment. When you allow the wrong seed from a wrong man to be planted in your land as a lady, what result is a weed called unwanted pregnancy. A weed called sometimes STDs and STIs. A weed. As a man, the seed in you is a potential world changer. And this must be evacuated. This might be evacuated through abortion when you plant it in the wrong environment. When you plant it in the wrong environment. As a lady, if you do not know the quality of your land, you will allow just any useless guy to come and plant his seed in you because you don't know the quality of your land. And he's going to use you as a practicing field. You know, I heard some people come out, even an actress come out that people need to test themselves. People need to test themselves. They need to check themselves out if they are sexually compatible. The only reason you are saying that is because there is a basis for comparison. I've said it. Look, if you have never had it before, whatever you see in marriage is the best you can ever think of because there is no other experience in your brain, no pathway in your brain to compare that experience to any other experience. But immediately you have an experience, there's a basis for comparison. There's a basis for comparison. There's a basis for comparison. And then you can begin to say all sorts. That's why people say, let them check themselves out. There's nothing wrong with it. As a lady. So if you check him out, if he doesn't like her, you go and check someone else out. Keep checking out, checking out, checking out, checking out, checking out. How many people do you want to check out before you get married? How many people do you want to test before you get married? Because what if you try it or test it and you don't like it? So you look for someone else. So you now become like you're test driving a car. As a lady, you are also like a building that is yet to be commissioned. And you must be careful who commissions you, because the inscription on you by this person commissioning you lasts forever. It's been discovered that one of the painful breakup is the breakup that a lady had with the first boyfriend she slept with. Is the most painful in terms of emotional trauma they go through when they break up. The first they have relationship with. From the perspective of a guy, there are two types of land. They are the available and the desirable. The available land is the lady that they like to just sleep with, use and done. And the second type is the desirable one, the lady they consider as a wife material and they use and they choose to marry. So it's left for the ladies to decide. Are you available or desirable? Are you available or desirable? Are you available or desirable? Please note that God gave us sexual urge. That means the urge is not bad in itself. It is only the abnormal use that is bad. The abnormal use is abuse. God gave us that urge. So you saw a lady, your body responded. That is physiology. By training, I study medical physiology. So I can explain to you what has happened from your sight through the optic nerve to the occipital cortex in the brain, and from there sending a signal through the autonomic nervous system to your sexual organ. It is physiology. In fact, if you don't respond, something is wrong with you. Something is wrong. It's physiology. And it's necessary because it's needed in marriage. It is important to start by saying that sex is not just sex. Please note, there is more to sex than many people can imagine. There's more to it. Do you know the scripture actually made a statement? If you read this in this scripture in, I think, Message Bible, it said, there is more to sex than mere skin to skin. That's 1 Corinthians 6:16. There is more to sex than mere skin to skin. Sex is as much spiritual mystery as physical fact. This is scripture. It says sex is as much spiritual mystery as much as physical fact. Why? Because two become one. As written in scripture, it makes two to become one. So scripture confirms that sex is by skin-to-skin contact. Because there is a spiritual mystery to it. This means that there is an emotional and soul connection to sexual intercourse when it happens between two people. Emotional and soul connection. Everyone you have intercourse with. So every time you have intercourse with someone, what happens is beyond the physical. What happens is beyond the physical. Beyond the physical experience, there is a spiritual mystery. Sex with another human being is like joining two spirits together or joining two souls together. Please note that the real joining of husband and wife is not during the marriage ceremony. It's not during the marriage ceremony in church. As the name implies, it is ceremony. That is ceremonial joining. The real joining is the sexual intercourse they have afterwards, because that is when the marriage is consummated. That is when the marriage is consummated. Uniting through sexual intercourse is what makes two to become flesh. As stated in the scripture, he said, two become one flesh. So there is a joining that takes place during sexual intercourse that no other joining can be compared to. And unfortunately, most people go through this joining with someone that they do not permanently want to remain with. You know, someone put it in a very interesting way. You know, imagine put a gum on a paper, on a glue, put a gum on a paper, a glue on a paper, and put it on another paper, let it dry and gum it together. Let's say the paper, there's a paper red, there is a paper black, there's a paper red, there's a paper orange, there's a paper yellow, there's a paper green, there's a paper violet or indigo or purple. This paper red has a gum on it. It was joined together with paper orange. If it becomes dry and you pull it apart, a part of red goes to join the orange, a part of the orange goes to join the red. Now, imagine that red paper, put gum on it again, gum it now on, after the orange, on yellow, then pull it apart. Then join it on green, then pull it apart. Then join it on purple, then pull it apart. Imagine how would that paper look like? I need to drop a message in the chat. How would that paper look like? Drop a message in the chat. How would that paper look like? Drop a message in the chat. How would that paper look like? Rough. Someone say rough. How would that paper look like? Anybody? How would that paper look like? The gum, you join to one and pull it apart. Join it to the second, another color, pull it apart. Join to the third, pull it apart. How will it look like? Anybody? I've only heard from one person. Favor. Any other person, please. Drop a message. Someone say messy. I like that. It will be messy. It will be messy. Yes, any other person? How would that paper look like? How would that paper look like? Any other contribution, please? How would that paper look like? Patchy. Someone say patches everywhere. Because of it will be multicolor. Patch, 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 multicolor. Multicolor. This joining is like putting a gum on red paper that is red, on the paper that is red, and then glue it to a blue paper. Someone say multicolored. Glue it to blue paper. Someone say colorful, worn out. Colorfully worn out. Colorfully worn out. Put it, and then glue it to blue, pull it apart after, pull it apart after drying. This will make a little of each paper to stay on each other. Imagine sticking this red paper with gum on 10 different papers with 10 different colors and pull them apart. The color of each of the paper will be left on this red paper. This distorted soul of a person, this is the distorted soul of a person with many sexual partners. This kind of person will not be able to deeply connect with whoever he eventually get married to. This person, whoever he eventually get married to, he will not be able to deeply connect with them. That's the challenge. That's the challenge. He will not be able to deeply connect with them because of the, This also explains the reason why a married person that is sexually active cannot get his or her ex sexual partner off her mind. There's a story I tell regularly when I'm talking to young people and they're asking me, look, why should I not have a boyfriend? And why should I not sleep with my boyfriend? There's this lady, she was my student some years ago. She's a professional, married, and she had 2 sexual partners before she got married. I got to know all this afterward. So she came into the class one day and she was so troubled, sad, unhappy. After the class, I called her to my office to interrogate her because I was just concerned. Look, you look so, something is wrong. Say yes. What happened? Said he's tired of his marriage. He's tired of his marriage. He's tired. The man should go. If he likes, should go and marry someone else. He's tired. He's tired. He's tired. He doesn't like, because of the way, the issue he has with the husband. Whatever the husband tells her to do, she won't do it. She uses kerosene as a backup for her gas. The husband said, look, why don't you get another gas? I can pay for this. Just get another gas cooker so that when this finishes, you can use it as a backup while you're refilling the main one. She just ignored. She's still using her kerosene. So one day, the son, the house help, gas finished, the house help went to carry the kerosene. The kerosene was inside the regular Coke bottle. Sorry, it's regular water, bottled water rather. So she poured it into the stove and left the remaining bottle on the, what's the name? The slab in the kitchen. The son came in, young boy, saw it thinking it was water and drank it. And the child collapsed. They rushed him to the hospital. Thank God the boy was saved. So I now asked her, but why didn't you, when your husband told you about it, why didn't you consider it? He said, he doesn't like the husband. He's tired of relationship. So he doesn't listen to whatever he said. And I said, why? He doesn't like, after probing and probing and probing, after almost an hour, she eventually spoke out. She said, she doesn't enjoy intercourse with her husband. I said, compared to what? Then he said, she had 2 sexual partners. In fact, he said sometime when she's meeting with her husband, she'll be thinking of these guys because in her estimation, this guy is a lot good and better than her husband. I think her husband was really a novice before she get married in this area. So he said he will even sometimes mention their name unknowingly. He said it's so bad that when some of them, they are not in Lagos. He said when they're in Lagos, they will chatter. Sometimes she'll be tempted to go and meet them in the hotel where they lodge in Lagos, where they come for program in Lagos. But she would just convince herself that she can't go, she won't go. Now, the reason why she was angry with her husband and she was almost divorcing was because she had an experience. So currently she's frustrated because of the dissatisfaction of sex compared to what she used to have. If she has never been satisfied, in quote, it won't happen. Which is why I tell couples, you must discuss the issue of sex. You must discuss it. If one party is already sexually active, the other party must know. And you must both agree on this matter. How do we handle it? You must discuss. If you don't, if both of you are naive, great. Both of you are both inactive sexually, great. You learn together. But if one person already have an experience, in fact, there was another lady. This was my account officer. I was just teasing her about marriage. And she said, a guy proposed to her, she declined. I said, why did he decline? He said, because she wanted a particular sexual act. And that guy said, he can't do it. And she called it quit. So she called it quit because of what she wanted that this guy would not be able to do. This is so important for her. Why? Because she's been sexually active and the boy that introduced it, so doing those sexual acts to her at 22, at the time I was talking to her, she was already in her 30s. At 22, she dated that guy for 7 years. When the guy was not serious about marriage, she has to quit. But that boy introduced her to some things that she must find in whoever she wants to get married to. And that become a criteria that she now, in her late 30s, she will not marry any man. Because that's important for her. And I said, but you're not more with this guy. So how are you coping? She said she has a friend with benefit. That was the first time I heard friends with benefit. Friends with benefit in this Lagos. So she has a partner that she can call upon any time to do whatever they want to do to themselves without any string attached. They are not dating. They're just friends with benefit. That's how serious this issue has become in our society. Now, why is this important? So that we understand the fact that, look, that you are even already engaged is not enough because you're not married yet. And it's very unwise. Because you can, as long as you have not married, you can still separate. It's some people get separated, break up relationship a night before their wedding anyway. So what are we talking about? Some even the money of the wedding, they call it quit, money of the wedding. Scientists have found out that when you have a deep connection with someone through sexual intercourse, a neural pathway is formed that make you to always want that experience again. That make you to also remember that experience when the person come around or when the person's name is mentioned or when you are in that act with someone else. Even after you are married. Do you know the challenge of neural pathways? Neural pathways is also what determines habit, addiction. When a neural pathway is formed, it can't be destroyed. It remains like that forever. you can only cultivate an habit that make the impact become reduced. But that neural pathway remains there. If you meet that person in future, that experience come back to your mind, even though you are married now. Even though you are married now. You remember that experience again. Even though you are married now. Even though you are married now. Particularly if the person have some weird way he goes about this thing, in which it creates a very deep seated pleasure in you. So this lady confessed that he remember her ex even call her name during the act with her husband. She's now married, but not with the guy. Please note that this neural pathway remain in your brain forever. And there are many young people with many different neural pathways in their brain from many different multiple sexual partners. Does that explain to you the reason why most marriages are breaking off? Look, this is one of the reasons why. This is one of the reasons why. This is one of the reasons why. So if you already make that mistake, then you must desist to save your marriage, to save your marriage, to save your relationship. And you know, statistics actually show that there is a higher probability that a man or a woman that is already sexually active before he gets married will cheat. The probability that a man that is sexually active before marriage will cheat is higher than someone that is not sexually active. The probability is higher. The probability is higher because they now require a more discipline. They now require to be. So if I made a mistake, number one, you must declare your sexual escapade to your partner when you get engaged. You must declare your sexual escapade and discuss it in details and agree on the way forward on this matter. And agree on the way forward. This neural pathway remains in the brain. It's not destroyed. Statistics have shown that a lot of problems, a lot of troubles, a lot of dissatisfaction and infidelity issue in marriage today can be attributed to the experiences these people have had with their ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. This explains why some will sleep with their ex a week before their wedding, a night before their wedding. In fact, one slept with the ex even after the wedding, before they went for honeymoon. In fact, the husband discovered it when they were in Dubai together, and the guy woke up in the night, message dropped on the wife's phone, and she took up the phone, check it, and she saw the guy in Ghana. This happened in Ghana. He saw the guy in Ghana discussing their sexual escapade and how the lady should quickly leave his boring husband and come back to Ghana. This man discovered it during the honeymoon in Dubai. They still meet even after the marriage, before they went for honeymoon with the ex. This explains why people will sleep with their ex just before, even after their wedding. So they are with somebody physically, but their soul is somebody else emotionally. Why? Because of soul ties. Because of soul ties. I will stop here today. Like I said, this will be 2 sessions. We'll be concluding this particular sub-episode next week. The pleasure. Let me hear from you. What have you learned today on the anatomy of relationship and marriage? What have you learned today? Let me start from Favor. Favor, good evening. How are you? What have you learned tonight?
Good evening, sir. Good evening. I'm fine, sir. Thank you. Okay, I've learned a lot today, but I'll just try to summarize. Okay, first of all, I learned that whatever thing you are trying to do, you should always define it. Because like if anything doesn't have a definition, it's then like it's very abuse, like it's very easy to abuse that thing. So whatever thing it is, be it friendship, be it whatever thing it is, but then even it relates more even to decision making aside marriage and all whatever it is that you are going into, define it, because if it does not have a purpose, you might abuse it. And I also learned that sex is actually a covenant. It's not just a physical activity. It's like a connection between two people. It's like a spiritual connection, emotional connection, and premarital sex, like going into it, just creates those expectations that you expect your partner to meet. And if he or she doesn't meet it, like those kind of people tend to like want to cheat. So I really learned that it's better to like prevention is better than cure for me. That's what really stood out for me. And define whatever it is you are going into. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for joining tonight. Thank you. Favor, the second favor, favor one. Good evening. How are you? The favored one. Okay, is busy. Emmanuel Ate. Emmanuel Ate, good evening. Hello, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you can unmute yourself. Good evening. Okay, Emmanuel is busy. Eunice Julius. Eunice Julius. Yes, go ahead. Good evening. Eunice, good evening. Okay, Emmanuel, go ahead and speak. I think Eunice is also busy. Emmanuel, go ahead. Hello, Emmanuel.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's a privilege to join you again in this session.
Wow. I can't hear you at all. It's breaking seriously.
The session today.
Okay, go ahead. Yes. Oh, maybe you should go out and come in again. I can't hear you at all. Eunice, you can unmute yourself. Hello, Eunice. Go ahead. Eunice, go ahead, please. Eunice, you have unmuted, but I can't hear you. Okay, I hope we're not having issue with different network tonight. Chinedu. Chinedu, good evening. Hello, Chinedu, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Chinedu.
Yeah, thank you for today's lecture.
Yeah.
In fact, just like you said, this topic seems not to be discussed in the family.
Yes.
Even among the mothers and their daughters. Even I can't even remember discussing this issue with that with my mom. For how many years I have lived. So, but this is a very salient topic that, in fact, if I should say, I was just interviewing someone. Why do you want to get married?
Okay.
The person said, okay, no, I asked the person, are you ready to get, I asked the lady a very simple question, but it's not simple. I asked her, would you like to settle down? She said, no, I'm not ready for marriage now. And I said, why? She said she's not ready for making babies. I said, really? No, I was like, is just making babies the only reason why you get married? But you have boyfriends. I'm not joking. If you go through her WhatsApp status, what you will see will be so disgusting that I will be asking myself, how did someone she's just 20 years, but the kind of things I saw on her status made me to have a rethink. Just for you to see that, you see, the society has grown in terms of morality. In terms of morality, it's so bad that things have gone so. In fact, let me just shock you. What is going on around, like say, in Lagos here? You hardly see a guy who doesn't. You hardly see a guy that is working, probably in 30s, that doesn't have like a lady. They are not married. Like, I'm trying to use the word. I'm trying to find the better word for it. What do you call it? They are not married. Both of them are living.
Cohabitation.
Cohabitation is on the high side, especially in Lagos State. Especially, I don't know about it. I'm in Lagos, so I know what I'm talking about. Especially in our neighborhood, you can see. In fact, it's very alarming. It's very alarming. So the point I'm trying to make is that, you see, this ideology that this ideology that I don't know how to. I'm trying to watch what I'm saying. This ideology that sex before marriage.
Yeah.
I need someone to, people, there is no modesty, there is this, you see people even living together, the parents of the girl doesn't even know that the lady, the girl in question is living with someone else. They would know maybe along the line, 5 years, 6 years, the lady will come back and tell the parents that she has like 3 or 4 children. So what I'm just trying to say in essence is that, you see, this topic, I think, needs to be revisited over and over again.
Yeah.
A lot of marriages are in shambles today because of lack of sexual education.
Yes. Yes.
The society, that is the reason why we need good leaders. The society, especially our so-called celebrities that are supposed to be role models, are the ones causing confusion among our youth. The kind of programs that are being aired on television are also responsible. That is why I don't buy the idea of Big Brother Niger. Because of the kind of things, in fact, I went to do POS in our neighborhood. I discovered that the lady was busy morning, afternoon, night, Big Brother Niger. I was like, is this the only thing you do with your time? And I just looked and I saw what they were doing. I'm like, don't you have other things to do? Must it be this? Then coming to the issue of, yeah, sure. You see, by the time you have premarital sex before marriage, it brings a whole lot of comparison. Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It brings a whole lot of comparison when you are with your husband or with your wife.
Yeah.
because I or the lady is not as sweet, unquote, like the ones we have been having before, then that is where the issue of, comparison, or, this issue of this man is not good in bed. Okay? But we also have, I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make here is that it is good that this issue has been brought up. I would really beg you to see if this topic could be revisited or probably extended beyond two topics, because there are a lot.
No problem. No problem. We'll still have another session next week anyway, and we'll be digging deeper into it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Samuel, good evening. Hello, Samuel, can you hear me? Are you there? Good evening, Samuel. Okay, Damilare, good evening. Are you there? Okay, Samuel, go ahead. Samuel, we can't hear you. Hello, Samuel. Okay, I don't know what's wrong tonight. Damilare, good evening. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. What have you learned tonight?
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, enlightening us on this topic. I've learned a lot this night. And I think the session tonight actually answered one of my questions, because I once asked someone this question, that why some marriages fail, even with the fact that some people even seek their pastor's advice and all that even before getting married. And the pastor will still give a go ahead and say, you can go ahead. You guys are meant to be together. And at the end of the day, the marriage will still end up crashing. But I found out this night that one of the cause is that maybe this person in question has actually deflowered himself or herself with somebody else. So even the pastor cannot even see anything else aside connectivity with that person. So I've learned this night that sex before marriage is not just what somebody should engage in, because you it's like you messing yourself up before you connecting to another person, because you're already connected with that person before. So you trying to attach yourself to another person is not something really good. Thank you.
Thank you. Toria, good evening, Toria. Hello, Toria, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
I'm fine. Yeah, thank you very much again. Another session. Although I kind of joined in late, but of course I still got value. This issue of sex, actually, it's something that for me it's quite disturbing, because then I know the way ladies take pride in being virgins.
Yeah.
I know the way it's a big deal for us.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's turning the other way. It's like you don't have sex. Or there's a problem, or exactly, like as if you're weird. So it's now the other way around.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how our society has so degraded to the point that we can't truth has now become false, and everything is just mixed up. And all these public interviews that they do, and then they ask random questions, and then they ask questions, because I follow this trend. I actually wanted to take statistics of what exactly is going on. They're asking which would you prefer, relationship or hookup? And then to a large extent people were saying hookup, not relationship. I'm like, really? They said, relationship is stress. You have to be thinking about him. He will serve you breakfast. You do this, you do that. But hook up, no stress. Just go do whatever you want and you leave. I'm like, really? Like, in fact, Now imagine those who get themselves involved in hookup to a very large extent. They are literally the definition of what you painted, colorfully worn out, because they've met so many people, attach themselves to different people, come out of it and all of that. So I mean, honestly, it's like our society does not even really understand what these sexual activities
Because we
entails,
don't
and
talk about it. Because we don't talk about it. Because it's not being discussed. We just keep quiet about it.
Okay, I actually have a question, though.
Go ahead, please.
Because even today, like coincidentally today, I and my brothers were I don't know what really brought up the whole issue. We're talking random talks and all, and then it came to the area of marriage and the area of sex. And then I was like, sorry. So my brother was of the opinion that as much as ladies have a standard and ladies are like, okay, the guy has to be rich, the guy should have this, the fear of God, and all these kind of standards that ladies place on men.
Yes.
He himself is like he has the right as well to place a standard. So he is not looking out for any lady who is not a virgin. Because he feels like because it feels like if he is a virgin and he has kept himself this long, he has every right to place a standard and say that he's not accepting any lady that is not a virgin. Except, let's say, the only provision he can make is probably she was raped or something. So my own question now is, like, to be very, very factual, to a very large extent, many ladies are no longer virgins.
That's not true. That's not true. You don't have the statistics.
To a very large extent.
I say you don't have the statistics. I'm serious. You don't have statistics. I don't want to say many. There's to a large extent you're correct, but so you don't have the statistics. But a pastor was talking that he has counseled many couple. A pastor was talking, he said he has counseled many couple that, and he didn't even know they were virgin. It's when he was counseling them after marriage, he realized that they were virgin and they had issues. And the issue they had is, being virgin, both of them, the initial, issues in trying to meet with each other, and they had to counsel both of them. So he was not aware. It's when they had issue that he had to counsel. And he is realizing that, look, he has counseled many, as in many. Do you understand? So it was just under encouraging people that, look, fine, you're correct that many people are not, but the truth is that there are many also that are able to. Only that obviously those that are not are more than those that are able to, I think, to a large extent. Go ahead, please.
My point exactly, actually. Yeah. So so where I'm driving at is, how is he going to actually factor this in his decisions? Because he could meet a girl. He could meet a girl.
He can't say that. If he says that, then he has to wait till he find one. He will wait till he find one. And if he find the one, he might not have other quality he wants. So he has to decide which one is more important. He has to decide which one is more important. You understand? So, but I understand why he thinks that way. But the fact still remains that he has to decide which one is more important. Is it the character of the lady or the fact that he has been sexually active before? Is that which one is more important to him?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, sir.
It's possible that the lady has been sexually active, but he has changed and is a better person, good character. How do you deal with that? So I don't think that should be a deal breaker, but everybody have their choice anyway. All right. Thank you. Victor, I hope you don't have too many questions for me tonight. Victor, are you there? Good evening. Victor, are you there? Okay, like Victor is busy. Okay, some people drop some messages. Emmanuel says network is bad. He said abstinence is best practice. If found wanting, open up to your partner. It's indispensable if one must have a suggested marriage. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Then Eunice said, I learned that everything for everything, defining experience, create neural pathway are formed, and it define habit and emotional strength. To avoid unnecessary sexual implication that may affect one marriage, it is better to stay away from premarital sex. Someone said, when we have all the issues in society, we still have many male and female. Yes, very correct. Very, very correct. In spite of the issues, very correct. And you know, there's something about this. If you believe there are no virgins, most likely you will not find one. But if you believe there are, most likely you will find one. But what I know is that there are really, some are still able to do that. But even though society, sincerely, our society is very terribly messed up, and so many issues. So we'll be discussing this again next week, and we'll be going deeper next week to discuss extensively other areas we could not cover this week. And like I said, upper week, we'll be discussing the issue of divorce. And this is a big deal all over the world. See you next week. Have a wonderful weekend, and bye-bye.